Hello there guys, and welcome to Mad Dog Minis. And this video I'm going to be discussing how to do a simple conversion for a Primaris scale Terminator. In the middle of the screen here you'll see the Legacy Terminator, and if you kind of scale them up against a regular Primaris dude here, you can see that there is a little bit of a problem with scale. Now we know in the lore that these guys are supposed to be taller than Firstborn Space Marines, but Terminator armor is supposed to be something else. You can, you drive it rather than wear it. It's supposed to be imposing. It's supposed to be big. So I for one felt I needed to sort that out because the Terminator was just getting dwarfed on the tabletop really. So this is my answer here. This is the conversion, and you can see that it's just given it a little bit of extra height in relation to a regular Primaris guy. So here we go. All right, so it looks a little bit better in scale. Head height wise is about the same, so you're not going to end up with a massive mini here guys, but you are going to end up with something that looks just a little bit better sitting next to your Primaris Marines. And we kind of end up sorting out the worst bits of the original Terminator, which are the kind of the goofy proportions of the legs and the lack of abdomen, which we can sort out with the conversion. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go to the next screen and tell you what you need. Okay guys, so the bits you're going to need for this conversion are as follows. You are going to need a complete Terminator upper half, so that's the torso, okay, front and back. You're going to need left and right weapon arms. You're going to need the shoulder pauldrons as well, okay, and you're going to need a head. All right, so the rule of this conversion is that we maintain that upper half of the Terminator because that's what gives it the distinctive look. We don't muck around with that. So you're also going to need, for the legs and lower body, aggressor parts, okay. So you're going to need front and back torso, okay. You're going to need the legs, and if you want, you might need the little dangly, totem thing that goes over the kind of groin area as well, okay. So the first thing we're going to do here in the conversion work is to glue. I'm going to use super glue here, but you'd be well advised to use plastic glue for this particular conversion because you want a really strong fix with the glue here. But we are going to glue front and back torso together of the aggressor. Now you really need to let that set good and proper before you do anything else. So I'm going to give that some time off camera and come back to you. Okay guys, so I'm back with a pretty strong bond on that torso. This is where your conversion work's going to happen with this here. All right, so I would highly recommend using a hobby saw for this next bit. You can use clippers to do this, but it's going to be quite messy and quite difficult with clippers. What we need to do here is we need to saw kind of just above. You see these abdomen plates here? We want to preserve as much of that as we can. So we want to saw just above those. So we're kind of sawing through the chest plate area here, straight down, okay? So we're just chopping off the whatever you call this bit, the cowl perhaps, and the chest, but we want to kind of leave a little bit of chest just to enable us to work with that. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now with the hobby saw. Do watch your fingers here, okay? Use your knuckles to shield your fingers. If in doubt, work slightly above where you think you need to work, because obviously you can't put it back on once you've sawn it off. Okay, so that's good. So if I draw your attention to that, this bit's quite important. So you want this kind of rim here, okay? You still want that kind of rim where the chest plate was, and that gives you some material to work with. So don't saw down through the abdomen, saw above the abdomen, give yourself plenty of room, okay? So what we're going to do now is trim this rim, okay, using clippers, all right? You're going to make a kind of bit of a rounded top on that abdomen, and you'll notice I'm going around the back, we're sloping downwards. And that's okay, because the way it goes together with the top half of the Terminator, as you'll see in a minute, you need that shape. So you're kind of going round and down. Now remember, because I've done this a few times for my own projects, I kind of know what I'm doing, so I'm being a bit cavalier with this, but take your time, small bit by small bit, okay? Remember, you can't put it back on once you've chopped it off. So this is a particularly important bit here. You want this bit to be quite rounded, and you kind of want it kind of going in on itself a little bit, so you kind of like shape it with the clippers, tiny bit by tiny bit, guys. All right, it'll be time to do a bit of a dry fit soon of that torso. All right, so this is kind of what you kind of get at the end, is a little bit of a messy hack job on top of the abdomen here, but we've managed to preserve these abdominal plates. That's what's going to give your Terminator some extra height, as well as the longer legs that you get in the kit as well. All right, so what I'll do next then is glue the Terminator carapace together. So there we go, glue on there. Okay, and you'll notice with the Terminators, whoops, sorry, just trying to rush this on screen for you here, but obviously give yourself plenty of drying time, guys. You'll notice with the Terminators that they have this kind of like little cup here, and that wants to sit kind of right on top of that kind of abdominal bulge that you've got now that you've made. So you kind of bring them together, do a bit of a dry fit. Okay, and you can see there that's coming together quite nicely. Okay, the back end often isn't as tidy, all right, but in this case that looks not too bad. So we're going to go ahead and glue that on, because actually I think that's pretty good. All right, so the nice thing, because you've done a bit of a hack job here, there's plenty of surface for the glue to adhere to. All right, nice and rough, so it should produce a nice bond. So we're going to bring those two parts together. Obviously pay a little bit of attention as to the overall posing of the miniature. But you can see here that, you know, round the back is where it gets a little bit untidy. You may want to do some gap filling, some jiggery pokery there. I am not about perfection, guys. It's in the title, Mad Dot Minis, terrain surgery. So I'm a bit orky when it comes to my conversions, but you can do a tidier job than me, okay? But that is the heart of the conversion right there. And that doesn't take long, especially with the right tools. Hobby saw is highly recommended, as I said. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to glue arms and legs on and head, and come back to you on screen. Okay, guys, I'm back. So glued the legs on, glued the arms on, and glued the pauldrons on, as well as the head. These are all really easy things to do because you're not going outside of the normal limitations of the kits that you're using. There's no conversions required for arms, legs, pauldrons or head. It's just purely that midsection, trimming down the aggressor's torso and fitting on the Terminator chest piece. So the main advice from this video is go carefully at first with it. Try to get a hobby saw, it's better for it. I would strongly advise trying to maintain, it's only personal opinion of course, but trying to maintain the upper half of the Terminator, because that is really what gives the Terminator its iconic silhouette. I've seen some conversions where guys are kind of dropping down the pauldrons to give it a more Primaris look, and I just don't like it. This for me needs to be maintained, and plus it's easier. Okay, so you know, that goes on as is. You do a little bit of trimming, the aggressor legs go on pretty much as is, and jobs are good. Okay, so really fast. The main part of the conversion I did live on screen there. That only took a very short while indeed. The arms and legs go on really easily. If you like, of course, you draw your attention to the groin area here, because you've got that funny area where the dangly little bit can go on for the aggressors. And if you're doing like Space Wolves or something like that, you can do like wolf's tails or wolf pelt and things like that if you like as well. But that is the conversion essentially. If we just bring that up to the regular Terminator, you can see that you've gained some considerable height there, which is really what we wanted. And you know, you've gained an abdomen, you've gained some more realistic proportions as well. Some other conversions that I've seen actually use heavy intercessor legs, which is fine. I prefer the aggressor legs. The posing's a bit more appropriate on them, and these little armoured plates just on the hips here are a little bit better on the aggressor kits. They kind of link in with the Legacy Terminators plates on the side a bit better, and they give it some needed bulk in the middle. Otherwise, I mean, if you were to use, for instance, intercessor legs on a conversion like this, you get this pinch point in the middle, and it just looks far too thin here in the middle. You want that bulk. Anything that can add a little bit of extra bulk to the middle, you kind of want that. So I would personally stick to aggressor legs. It does work out a little bit more expensive. The reason people tend to use the heavy intercessor legs is because they already come in squads of 5, so they kind of go well with the Terminator squad size in that sense, and I can respect that. But that's how I do my conversions. Really easy. You know, you may want to do a bit of gap filling at the back here. I don't tend to bother personally, because once they're painted up, it just doesn't, it's not an issue for me, it doesn't bother me. But I hope that's been helpful. And you know, I mean, if you kind of put that now next to a regular kind of guardsman, so one of my Praetorian dudes here, look at that. He looks gigantic in comparison, and that is what a Terminator should look like. You know, scales much better with a Primaris Marine. This one's got a particularly upright pose, so if anything, he's slightly taller, which is great. They don't all come out like that. A lot of the time they come just about the same height up to the head, which is fine for me. That works. It works far better than the Legacy Terminators. So as much as I love these guys, I just wanted something that looked a bit nicer on tabletop alongside my Primaris army. So I'm going to sign off there, guys. Hope that's been helpful. Please like, share with people who might be interested, and subscribe if you want to see more of this kind of stuff. Thanks very much.